What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Pop Q Culture. So, this news just came in, and it looks like President Joe Biden, has just pardoned his son, Hunter Biden. He said he wouldn't, and he would let the justice system do their job, except he decided otherwise. And this is not a last minute decision. We think he's been thinking about this for quite some time now. But time is pressing. He will be ousted from the White House soon. So he must do this very quickly before anything changes under him. Trump won the election. He will be sworn into position next month. Is it? Yeah, next month, so January. And so Biden, leaving the presidential seat, decided to pardon his son before he leaves his function. You have to think about this way. As a father, it must be really hard to let your kids be astray or see your kids be in the harm. So it makes sense as a father to forgive his son. So Joe Biden issued a statement. We are going to read it to you quickly. The statement is dated December 1st, so Sunday, and it says statement from President Joe Biden, and it says, today I signed a pardon for my son Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision making, and I kept my word even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. While we're reading this, pay attention to the words that are being used. Unfairly. And then it says, without aggravating factors like use in a crime, multiple purchases, or buying a weapon as a straw purchaser, people are almost never brought to trial on felony charges solely for how they filled out a gun form. Those who were late paying their taxes because of serious addictions but pay them back subsequently with interest and penalties are typically given non-criminal resolutions. It's clear that Hunter was treated differently. Was he though? The charges in his cases came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. Then a carefully negotiated plea deal agreed to by the Department of Justice unraveled in the courtroom with number of my political opponents in Congress taking credit for bringing political pressure on the process. Had the plea deal held, it would have been a fair, reasonable resolution of Hunter's cases. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son. And that is wrong. Well, when Trump was in power the first time, and that will be between 2017 and 2021, if we're not mistaken, his kids were also targeted, except most of his kids are not addicts like Hunter Biden is. So Hunter Biden was targeted, but so were Trump's kids. It just so happened that they weren't into, addiction and weird stuff that led them to trouble. So no, your son was targeted because he had some vices he was fighting. So he needs help. That's what it is. Give him the help he needs. Every president in the United States kids has been targeted, whether it's the Clinton, the Bush, heck, even Malia and Sasha Obama were targeted at some point. Like the press always try to say some bad things about them. But this will be the first case where we see an adult kid of a president getting into such a big trouble, such as, gun charges and federal felony, and so on and so forth. So while Biden is blaming his opponents and his enemies for, coming after him using his son, it's not so much about coming after him using his son. It's just the political game that is as such. He should know better that that's how it is in politics. Even Trump, when he was in power, his kids were also targeted. We remember it was Ivanka was targeted, Eric was targeted, and you know, they were all somehow went through some situations where they could have easily fallen as a collateral to what people wanted their dad to go through in a legal way. Except it never happened because the Trump, say whatever you want about the Trump's family, but the kids seem to be very grounded. And that is something we don't really see in the Biden's family. And we're not judging anybody, we're just stating the facts, just so everybody can see that the Biden case is no different from the the treatment that other presidents' kids have gone through. Now that said, we do believe Hunter Biden has an issue. He has an addiction issue. It's no secret, but he needs help. That's a no-brainer. Whether he's been, charged with felony or whatnot, he needs help. He needs to get that help. That's number one. And it's good for him. It will be good for the community itself. The way Biden acted, the fact that he pardoned Hunter Biden ahead of his conviction or his we don't think it's a bad thing at all. It's nepotism at its core. And nepotism, we see it in the business world, we see it in a regular people's world, and it will be no different at the presidential level. And Biden is in the right to pardon his own son. He has the ability, he has the power. Why wouldn't he? It's his son. So, as a parent, we understand that Joe Biden pardons his son. As a president, we do not understand that because it doesn't make not that it doesn't make sense, but it's too close to home. So it's almost as if it was a conflict of interest because this is a man that is at the head of a country that he's supposed to lead in the most impartial way possible. He has to be fair, but he decided to forgive his son or somebody closer to him as a president. So as a president, this can be challenged, but as a parent, it cannot be challenged. This is his son. He needs to do what he needs to do to protect him. And that is understandable. We would have done the same thing if we were in his shoes. Heck, any parent in the world, nobody dares to deny this, but any parents in the world will do the same thing if they had the power to forgive or pardon their own kids. That said, the main issue for us here, though, is the precedent that Joe Biden is setting. At this pace, if he's pardoning his son, then we shouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump pardons himself once he's in power. And we don't know how many charges against him. Some of them have been put on pause, and don't be surprised if Donald Trump pardons himself. There's something else we wanted to add before we end this, is that the statements that Joe Biden put out, he doesn't need to explain why he's really pardoning his son. For one, we understand that he's a parent, and then that, he had to do what any parent would do. That's not questionable. What we don't like about the letter is a victim mindset, meaning that his old son, because this is not a kid, this is a man that is closer to age 50, or maybe he's already 50 years old, we don't know, but he's old. So this is a man that has his own family of his own, that is capable of taking his own decisions, and so on and so forth. He's not a kid. But Biden is playing the victim, saying that people came after his son and so on and so forth. Well, if your son was so irreproachable, nobody would have been able to come after him because they wanted your head on a plate. Nobody. People wanted Trump to drown so heavily, but have they been successful to do that through his kids? No, because those kids are grounded. So somehow take accountability of the way your son was raised. That's number one. Two, you don't need to play victim. Hunter Biden is not a victim. There are real victims out there, but he's not a victim. As a president, you chose to pardon him for not paying taxes or for not properly registering the purchase of his guns. Well, if it's a felony according to the Constitution or the laws in the United States, and it is applicable to everybody in the United States, every resident in the United States, why wouldn't it be applicable to your son? Because he's your son? Doesn't make sense. So our main issue here is the idea of justice for all. Is there really a justice after this? Up to you to decide. And as an impartial leader of a free nation, if the leader can do whatever he wants, protect his own, the closest people to him, and not protect the rest, the mass, well then, is he really the leader of all? We'll leave you to this. As always, we love you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.